Hey everybody, in this wizard build video for the game of Frostgrave, I'll be creating a defensive-minded Thaumaturge who likes to create human walls. Hey everybody, I'm Alan, with Bricks and Blocks Gaming, tabletop gaming with bricks and blocks and helping to build your gameplay experience. In this video, I'll start by showing you my Thaumaturge's spell list, discuss their main spells and strategies, discuss how their other spells fit in, recommend some soldiers to hire for this wizard, and give my thoughts about using this build in a game. So let's get to the bricks and blocks of this Thaumaturge build for Frostgrave. For their spells, from the primary school, I've selected Dispel, Heal, and Shield. From the aligned schools, I've selected Reveal Secret, Transpose, and Write Scroll. And from the neutral schools, I've selected Fog and Telekinesis. The main strategy for this build is to use the in-school shield spell, which casts on a 10, to increase a knight or two's armor stat from 13 to the game's maximum of 15. Then to move these heavily armored soldiers into positions to clog the enemy lines, ideally in tight alleyways, doorways, or staircases, to create a living wall ahead of treasure carriers so those soldiers can more easily flee with their loot. The 15 armor combined with a knight's +4 fight makes them very resilient and able to hold their ground for quite a while. And the heal spell, also in school with a casting number of just 8, is there to further aid in the knight's survivability. This spell is always good, but its value increases with each point of armor the target has, as any points of damage the spell erases were that much more difficult for an opponent to inflict in the first place. Since the slow knights need to stay ahead of the treasure carriers, who are usually much faster, Transpose, casting on a 14, can be used to move the knights into place. An ideal usage would be to get a quick moving soldier to a treasure, have them pick it up, then transpose them with a knight to create the roadblock for any pursuing enemies. Early in a campaign, this spell will be a bit unreliable, so combining empowering this with the heal spell is another good combo when some figures really need to get swapped. The rest of the spells in this Thaumaturge's list are mostly there to just round out their spell list rather than be a main strategy. Telekinesis, casting on a 14 being from a neutral school, is an extremely powerful spell, and can be used to move the non-central treasure tokens closer to the wizard's side, so the soldiers can focus more attention on the central token. With another somewhat high casting number, this one is also unreliable and should probably only be used once or twice per game when the knights are already powered up and no healing or transposing is needed that turn. This Thaumaturge has 2 out-of-game spells that are both from aligned schools. Write Scroll, which casts on a 14, can be used after a game to create scrolls of transpose or telekinesis, to improve their reliability when it really counts. And Reveal Secret, also casting on a 14, can help to improve the value of normal treasures that are recovered, which can be helpful for replacing expensive knights that may end up falling in battle after finding themselves alone and surrounded, or increase the chances of finding magical equipment that can keep them alive in those dire situations. And while knights are good at delaying other melee soldiers, they won't necessarily be able to block arrows and line-of-sight spells from reaching their treasure carriers. So the neutrally aligned Fog spell, casting on a 12, can be useful against opponents using those tactics by obscuring the vision of enemy soldiers and spellcasters. And lastly, Dispel, casting on a 12, is a handy spell to have to cancel any number of magical effects an opponent may have cast, whether it's canceling control of a summoned demon, ending a strength spell used to power up their barbarian, restoring a soldier's vision after being struck by a blinding light spell, or many other things. This spell can really throw off an opponent's strategy. For starting soldiers, after hiring an apprentice, this Thaumaturge should spend 250 gold crowns to hire 2 knights that will be serving as their human shields. And then the remaining 50 gold crowns should be used to hire an infantryman so they've got some offensive capabilities. 2 thieves should be added to be the treasure carriers and targets for transpose, and 3 thugs should be taken to help in combat or serve as additional treasure carriers. As funds present themselves, one of the thieves should be replaced with a treasure hunter, then the thugs should be slowly replaced, adding a ranger for range support and as a speedy possible treasure carrier, an additional infantryman for some more offense, and a man-at-arms as a backup human shield. As the Thaumaturge gains levels, the first thing to be improved should be transpose to make it more reliable, and then probably heal to keep the knights alive and restore health after empowering. Eventually, improving shield and telekinesis will be helpful, but the other spells are probably fine how they are. As far as my opinion about this build, if you're looking for something for a one-off game, you might want to swap out the out-of-game spells, which both affect things that really happen after the game. A good solution for this would be to swap out Right Scroll for Push to give some added utility, and to swap out Reveal Secret for Mind Control, because it's mind control. But for campaign play, I think it'll work well, and will feel thematic, with the good guy Thaumaturge employing knights who valiantly risk their lives for their friends, while the clerics, so to speak, cast defensive and healing spells. It's also a fairly friendly build, meaning most of the spells target the wizard's own figures, not the enemy figures. So it can be a good one to use against a new player that's still trying to figure out the rules and develop their own strategies. Let me know in the comments your thoughts about this Thaumaturge build, and if you have any experience using the shield spell to buff up your knights. I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming. Thanks for watching and play well.